Welcome to the channel for the first time viewers. Welcome back for my existing subscribers. It's your boy 5 Stars, and today I have a special video made for my friend Jay and anybody like my friend Jay. Now in this video I'm going to be covering some quick tips for any of you that are looking to get A, better at Rainbow Six Siege, or B, that have just picked up the game and are looking for some insight. Now I've been playing this game since about May of this year, so May 2017, and I've exclusively been playing Siege as the first person shooter. I like Battlefield, I like Call of Duty, but I've put both of those games down for Rainbow Six Siege and it's just taken a hold of me and I love it. So my current rank is Gold 1. My highest rank this season has been Plat 3. This is the first season that I was actually able to attain Platinum, so I'm very excited about that. The ranking system, if you're not familiar with it, it goes from Copper to Bronze to Silver to Gold to Platinum, and then your elites are called Diamonds. So that's the hardest one to get. So I've been able to get into the Platinum, and I lost about 5 games in a row. Got dropped down to Gold 3, and now I'm back up to Gold 1, 2 games away from getting back into Platinum. Now I'd be doing you a disservice if I didn't tell you that Rainbow Six Siege forces you to think, and the thing that makes it difficult is that while you're making all these decisions, they're actually game impacting as far as what you're reinforcing. If you hear an explosion, are you checking it out, things like that. You also have to win gunfights. So it's one of those things where they compound, and it just becomes a very difficult experience when you're going against people that already know what they're doing. So it kind of feels like you're overwhelmed. But don't worry about that. You just kind of have to get past it and get through it and learn. If you get angry easily, this game is going to be very rough for you. However, if you understand that there's a lot of people that are better than you at this game and you just started playing, or you've already been playing and there's people that are better than you, you have to come to the terms and figure out why. Why did you lose that gunfight? What did you do different than the other person? You can't just blame either lag or blame teammates. You can't just try to find something to put the blame on every single time you die. You have to look at yourself sometimes. And sometimes, yeah, you do die because of lag, or you do die because of bad teammate. But at the end of the day, if that's all you're doing is blaming everything else for your deaths, then you're not growing as a player. Now that that's out of the way and you got the disclaimer, I want to talk to you guys about holding tight corners. When you first get started, you need to hold tight corners, and I don't mean pressing up against the wall and actually, looking around the corner. I mean, the angle that you're looking at the enemy should be hard for even you to shoot. You see what I mean? So if you have a doorway, you want to get to the right side of the doorway and kind of aim into the opening and make it so that it's such a slim line that the moment you see this person's head, and you should also be aiming for the head. We'll talk about that later. But if you see the person's head, then you could just fire, get that headshot, and get the kill. But if they were to see the blimp of your body, then they couldn't really, focus on getting that perfect shot on because of the access that they have to. They only have, a centimeter's worth of screen space, if that, to shoot at you. A centimeter is kind of high, but really it's a small amount of screen space that they'll have to shoot at, versus if you're just hiding behind a counter and you kind of peek your head up, they have your entire head to shoot at. Or if you're in the open, which is even worse, then they have your whole body to shoot at. So you got to be cognizant of where your cover is and what you're doing out there on the battlefield, because at the end of the day, that's how a lot of the deaths happen. It comes from just bad angles. Bad angles get you killed. Another thing I want to touch base on that rolls right along with that is Peeker's advantage. Now, what Peeker's advantage is, it's a game mechanic that essentially there's a lag between you and the other player because your internet connection is connected to the server and sending information at X speed, and theirs is doing the same thing, but the speeds are different. So to compensate for that, in some cases, when you peek a corner, you'll be able to actually have a couple milliseconds of an advantage on a player versus if you were just sitting still. Now, that doesn't always mean that just because you're the one peeking that you're going to be the one to win. It just kind of means that when the game is sending over the information, where you were when it sent it is what this person is going to see. So if you kind of peeked and the last time it sent the information, you were like a millisecond in a different area, then for that millisecond, you have that realistic advantage. So that's why you see a lot of people like doing that weird They peek out from behind a corner, go back, peek out, go back, and it's really, really fast. And that's what they're doing. It also makes you harder to hit. So even if, let's say there really is no advantage, right? Just the fact that you poked your head out and got it back to cover, the guy might shoot, but you're already behind cover, so he's just going to hit the wall. So you want to have a good angle and use that peeking mechanism, which is clicking left on the thumbstick, clicking the left thumbstick in, or clicking the right thumbstick in. So you want to do that so that you can win some more gunfights there. Now, earlier I mentioned some of the kind of siege sense and just having some map awareness. You do have to learn these maps because a lot of the walls are destructible, and that could be a problem if you don't know that the wall next to you that you're using for cover can be shattered or can be shot through. So sometimes you just think you're going to a safe spot, but you're actually in a worse spot than you were before, because instead of being behind a cement wall, you're now behind drywall. So be aware of what the walls and what the ground even is made of and what the ceiling is made of, because they can shoot through, they can break through the tile on some maps, they can definitely break through the wood on most maps, and they can shoot through most of these dry walls and soft walls. Another great game mechanic that you need to learn is going to be how sound travels in this game. I'm going to link a description to a video of how sound travels in this game that I had watched when I was trying to learn how to play Siege, just because it's a fully in-depth, like, there's a lot to it. It's not just like Call of Duty. In Call of Duty, if you heard footsteps on your right, you could look to your right and you'd pretty much be assured that you'd see somebody unless they jetpacked over you. So in this game, it's a little bit different. It goes through the nearest opening, and you'll see that in the video. So we're going to go ahead and fast forward past this topic, just because if you end up watching this full video, then it'll give you a better perspective than me just giving you a high level overview of it. Now, some tips that I have to keep you alive a little bit longer are as follows. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to practice. You want to practice every day. You want to go in a terrorist hunt when your aim is very bad. Make sure that you go in your settings first. So before you enter terrorist hunt, turn off your auto aim, because there is no auto aim or aim assist when you're playing against players, only against the computer. So turn that off so that you're practicing effectively. And what I mean by that is, why are you going to practice with aim assist when you can't use it against real people? So turn it off and practice without it. The second thing is, if you're not aware of what an area is called, then you can hit left on your D-pad and it will actually put a yellow marker. Just make sure that you don't put it like too far or too close in front of you or too far past where you want the person to see, because that's really where it's going to go. But the yellow marker is important when you don't know the proper call outs, because if you say they're in dining room and they're really in trophy room, well, you just sent somebody who already knows the game into the wrong direction, and they're probably going to get shot in the back because they're going to turn into a room looking to the right when realistically you didn't know what it was called. So you said what you thought it was, which isn't bad. You at least called it out, but they're in the room behind them, so they get shot in the back. So using the D-pad, you could say, he's in that room over there on my ping. So when you say on my ping, people look at their radar immediately for a yellow marker, or they look on the screen for a red dot. So those are the two things that you need to do. As far as when you're playing defense, a tip that I have for you is don't try to be a hero. It's better to play containment. What I mean by containment is, if you have a 2-room area, then keep everybody outside of your 2-room area, or keep everybody from crossing past your area. Don't try to go around the entire map and be a hero, when all that's going to do is get you picked off and leave your teammates one man down early on in the round. Don't try to be too aggressive until you're confident in your shot. If you're confident in your shot, then you can make the call as to how aggressive you want to be, because if you see somebody, you'll be able to challenge them. But until that time, you need to play it smart. You have to be very tactical in all of your approaches, because you might not have the gun skill. And if you've already been playing this game and you keep losing gunfights, that might also be why. Like, maybe you're roaming or anchoring, and that's not what you should be doing. Like, you might need to explore different roles. Now, the last thing I want to tell you about, which is just as important as everything else that we've mentioned so far, is you have to talk. You have to communicate, and you have to sometimes be quiet. if I'm alive and you're dead, the best you could do for me is give me solid intel. Whether if you're pinging on the cameras, then that's fine. If it's just pretty much you, me, and the guy that's left alive, and you're on a cam, then go ahead and ping them. But the best thing you can do is let me know where they're at, and then let me hear the person moving around so I can prepare for the gunfight. So that's what I mean by, staying quiet. When you're communicating, like, you have to kind of let your teammates know where you're at. I mentioned holding, kind of doing like a containment method where you're just going to hold down one room, or you hold down two rooms, or hold down a hallway. That's important to the objective. Let your teammates know that, because what can possibly happen is two of you are holding down that hallway, one of you gets shot, you shift because you panicked, and you're like, oh man, he just picked him off, so I gotta move. And now you just move to another area and you get picked off too, and we just lost two people in one go. And all because there was no communication. The second thing that comes from that is the place that person could have been watching is now open, so now we can get pushed or flanked from God knows where. Well, hopefully this video was clear as mud, and you at least took one tip away from it. And if that is a tip that helps you get better as a Rainbow Six Siege player, then the video was completely worth making. So you guys take it easy, and I will catch you on the next one. If you're not already a subscriber, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button for more Rainbow Six Siege, along with some other games that I do occasionally play. Last thing is, if you want to see me make a video about anything else that you need help with that I might be able to help you with, so if you're watching some of my gameplays and you notice that I do something well and you want to also do it the same way, then go ahead and drop a comment, and I can try to make a video on as to how to help you with that. All right, be easy.